Let me show you now how you can visualize vector fields. So I will start with the original dataset. I will delete both filters, the clip and the contour filter. And then I will close one of the views. So starting from the original dataset, let me make it not transparent. So I will increase the opacity to 1. And let me drag the color map again to the right. So now it's vertical. So now make sure that you have velocity loaded. So in the properties of the reader, make sure that you have the velocity checked. And if not, then click on it, check it, and hit apply again. And now let's bring up a filter called glyph right here. You can find it either here or go to filters, alphabetical, and glyph. So we're applying a glyph filter. We're placing an arrow on top of each data point. So glyph type is arrow. And then if we go down where it says orientation array, make sure you choose velocity. And then scale array. So let's first say no scale array, so that all arrows are the same size. Let's click on apply and see what happens. So let me make the original data set semi-transparent so that we can see the arrows more easily. Here's my opacity, like that. So now I have the arrows and all of them have exactly the same length. Let's scale the arrows with the velocity field. So in the properties of the glyph filter, where it says scale array, I'm going to say scale with velocity, and then scale factor is set by the magnitude of the velocity vector. So let's click apply. And as you can see, the scale is way off, so we'll decrease the scale factor. We will probably want to make it even smaller, like that. So now each arrow is proportional to the value of the velocity field at that point. Let's color arrows with the velocity field, like that. And we'll call it by the magnitude of the velocity field. And let me hide the original data set. So we're looking just at the arrows. You see that you have all this flow in this part of the volume in the direction of the z-axis, well, negative direction of z. And then you have a lot of rotational flow right here. Let's hide this glyph filter for a moment. And then let's try to visualize the velocity field with Streamlines. So I'm going to click on the original data set and then bring up the stream tracer filter right here. And here you have an option of placing seed points in 2 different ways. So let me search for it. I'm going to use the direction of the velocity field right here. And then for seed points, I have 2 options where it says seed type. I can either choose a high-resolution line source or a point source. For high-resolution line source, I have this line and a number of seed points uniformly placed on this line. So if I hit apply, through each seed point, ParaView will draw a line. It will integrate in the direction of, starting from the seed point, it will integrate in the direction of the velocity field in the positive and negative direction. So it builds these streamlines. Let me switch from high resolution line source to a point source. And what's going on here is we selected point at this location, let's say 0, 0, and then this value. And then we also have a sphere that you can see here around this point. So let me increase the radius of this sphere. For example, its radius is 5. So now you can see a bigger sphere. And then you draw a number of points randomly into the sphere. And then each point becomes a seed point. So you start integrating from each seed point in the direction of the velocity field and in the opposite direction as well. So when I hit apply, you will see the new streamlines. If you want to increase the number of streamlines, we need to modify the placement of seed points. So here we have a number of points. Let's say we want to do 1,000. Then we're going to have more streamlines like that. And as you can see here, the streamlines show the same pattern as we saw with the glyphs, with the arrows. And we can actually display the arrows and the streamlines at the same time. So let me make the glyphs smaller. where I'll need to modify the scale factor right here. Let me change it to 0.05, for example, and I click on apply. So here we go. And then let me change the color of the stream tracer lines. I will color them with a solid color. Here we go. And let me actually make them semi-transparent. I change the opacity of the stream tracer lines like that. And as you can see, both representations, the stream tracer lines and the glyphs agree with each other. They show the direction of the velocity field at each point.